Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. We talk all things Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the year is over. There has not been a Marvel movie. There has not been any Marvel shows. It's been, honestly, a weird year to even have a podcast about the MCU, so we've been talking about news. And speaking of weird, we have our host, one of our OG hosts. It's probably been one of the first episodes since we talked about the non-MCU movies. John is here via Zoom.
Hey,
John.
Hey, it's John. This is John. Hey.
Are you excited? I mean, I know we podcast every week for our other shows. But you haven't been on the Marvel pod in so long.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm very nervous. I don't know what to say on said Marvel pod anymore. I thought the Marvel spirit had left me already.
No, the spirit's coming back, baby.
Kind of like the way I'm fucking this up. I was like, the way Doctor Strange would do a Soul Stone thing or something.
Okay.
Or yeah.
There you go. You're remembering the stones?
Yeah, the stones. That's all there was, basically.
What are the stones? Can you even name them all? It's been a year.
So Soul, Soul, Disney and Pixar's Soul Stone.
Yep. Soul, yeah.
There's Time. There's Mind. There is Power.
Oh, you're being coy. You know them all.
And Reality. And Space, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been a year. It's crazy. It's been longer than a year since Endgame. And since it seems like the height of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I was telling you that I feel like the constant drip of Marvel news is just to make up for the fact that there are no real Marvel Cinematic Universe things to talk about, because the drip has been wet this year.
Is it wet or dry? I guess wet. Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. There's been a lot of teases and a lot of
drippy.
There's a lot of stuff to, I don't know, like in the trades where there's a lot of rumors and shit like that.
Rumors of rumors.
Yeah.
Rumors of war. No, that's another thing. All right. Well, I thought that this final episode of 2020, a tough year for a lot of reasons, we would talk about the top 5 MCU pieces of news. And of course, this isn't scientific. I just pulled this from all of the past episodes and of course the news of the day. So I'm excited because, John, some of this might be news to you.
It definitely might be.
Do you follow it closely? Are you always do you have a Marvel Google alert for news or something?
I mean, there's websites that I follow with movie news in general that there's Marvel news that gets pushed to the top sometimes. So, I may or may not know what you're talking about. So,
okay. How exciting.
Yeah.
Well, this, of course, again, is heavily editorialized. So these are the top 5 MCU movie, or I guess MCU news pieces out this year. We'll start with number 5. Maybe I'll put a nice sound. Maybe not. We were running out of time.
Five.
Oh, my God. Yeah. The number 5 piece of news for this year, 2020. It's kind of cheating, but it's basically the Disney Investor Day conference. And that's the fact that there are going to be 10 new Marvel shows streaming on Disney Plus, along with all of the other things announced. But that's the number 5 piece of news. There's so much streaming stuff coming for Marvel, including WandaVision, which comes out just weeks from now. But Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier. John, what's the most? What are you most looking forward to of all of the streaming stuff that Marvel's going to put out?
Yeah, I mean, because I think we did this on the Star Wars podcast, the Countdown Strikes Back. We talked about the new Star Wars stuff, but I hadn't gotten a chance to speak on the record, on the mic, I guess, about the Marvel stuff. I'm very excited about, I want to say What If. I think What If is premiering sometime this year, and that is exciting to me. I guess the animation looks okay because the animation kind of reminds me of Star Wars Resistance, which is something that's really hard to get into. But I am excited for the fact that we might see very different takes on the Marvel stories that we know. Because apparently, What If, back when it was announced, was something you get a movie that already exists in the Marvel universe, in the MCU, and they just kind of flip it with characters and plot zombies and plots basically that didn't happen in those movies that could have gone a different way, due to a due to them not winning, whatever battle they were fighting, or maybe a character end up dying or something. So
Yeah.
that to me is the most interesting thing that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Marvel series wise. That's not to say that I'm not excited for WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but that one I think has to. What If does take the cake as my most anticipated show for 2021.
It's going to be super ambitious. And I know that we only saw a trailer, and in the trailer we saw, Captain Britain, Marvel Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
We saw quite a bit of things, but it still didn't show everything because there's a ton of episodes of the show, all with the original cast. And I think that we'll get to see so many things that probably happen in comic books. I wonder if there's going to be Marvel Apes, which is, I feel like, kind of out there, but totally possible in an animated series.
Yeah, and that would be technically canon because it would be What If, and that's basically in this, the universe. And you get you get exciting things, like you get characters like the Watcher, who you got Watchers and Guardians too, but you get an actual Watcher character who narrates, and you also get it's kind of bittersweet, possibly the last performance of Chadwick Boseman.
True. Yeah. And I think that that's something that's really special, is the fact that this was, because it's all voice acting, probably low commitment not to say that they aren't working really hard, but low commitment from all the original voice actors. So it's possible that even though RDJ and Chris Evans, their characters are gone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they can live on in a series like this. In What If, I'm probably most excited for Loki. I didn't think I was going to be until I saw the trailer and realized just the scope of that show. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's done, which is exciting too, which is wild because we'll be seeing it soon. And then probably WandaVision, because it looks like nothing that Marvel has tried before, and it is literally TV shows, which is kind of cheating, I guess, in a way, especially if you're launching a TV show on Disney Plus to make a show that is about different TV shows and not parodying them, but making them all alternate realities. That's going to be insane.
It's kind of meta, yeah, in a way.
Yeah, super meta. I know there's like a found footage one, like The Office. Probably a sitcom that I hear they filmed in front of a live studio audience, like for reals.
Like 70s or 80s sitcoms, yeah.
And I don't know what else, but who knows? It may end with like a super meta Disney Plus show, which is, I guess, what it is. But yeah, that's our number 5 story, which is all of the streaming news. And of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because as we've seen already, there's going to be dozens of Marvel shows on Disney Plus soon. Maybe too much. Who knows? All right, time for number 4. Four. Oh, okay, cool. Echoes are good. Mine squealing on a toilet is not the same noise. But the number 4 is a kind of bittersweet piece of news, because it was the piece of news that Scott Derrickson was stepping down from the sequel to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and stepping in Sam Raimi. I think maybe one of the OG superhero filmmakers of all time. I don't know, with his Spider-Man series. This was really big, because not only is Marvel usually averse to this kind of drama, this like creative differences type thing. It's happened, but I don't think it's ever happened with someone and a sequel before. Edgar Wright had issues with Ant-Man, but they hadn't shot anything yet. But this was a returning director known for horror, stepping away from a character that he brought to life on screen, and Sam Raimi stepping in. And now we're kind of learning just the scope of what Multiverse of Madness is. I don't know. Are you excited that Sam Raimi is in the MCU, or are you kind of surprised by him returning to superheroes?
I guess both. I didn't think, Sam Raimi, I'm super excited that Sam Raimi is going in. I think, there's, with no disrespect to Scott Derrickson, I think Sam Raimi is one of the perfect people to kind of like handle a character like Doctor Strange, which has a lot of mystical and a lot of weird stuff happening that probably couldn't have happened in the first one. But I'm very surprised that he was able to kind of just jump back into a superhero universe, especially because he seemed to have left it all on the table when he did the Spider-Man movies. I think we read an article recently about Scott Derrickson saying that, or a tweet, Scott Derrickson saying that he didn't want to he doesn't make movies anymore for other people. Like, or he doesn't. He learned this on the day the earth stood still, which is like he doesn't want to be basically like a director for hire, I guess, if he doesn't feel his heart is in it. And I know this must have been a tough decision for him because he was very passionate about Doctor Strange. He still posts stuff about the first Doctor Strange movie. Like, he's very, you can totally tell that movie is something that was very dear to him. The character was very close to him. So for him to step away must have been a very tough decision. But he does reassure that, like, he is 100% on board and behind the fact that Sam Raimi is on this movie. And I think the movie will probably be better than the first one because Sam Raimi could make does make some exciting shit.
Yeah, I think that there's something really specific to a Sam Raimi movie visually. Like he has a style to his movies. Watch Evil Dead, even watch Oz the Great and Powerful, which is probably his most, I mean, it's a Disney movie. Like it's probably his most like, I don't know, like corporate controlled movie, but and I'm not just talking about Dutch angles or like running dollies or anything, but just the way that he shoots things is really exciting. And yeah, and I feel like maybe the scope is bigger because Sam Raimi is obviously someone who can handle expanding universes. He did it with Spider-Man, and he does it a lot even with his kind of indie horror production company. But I don't know, a lot of the casting news out of this and the fact that Wanda is in the Multiverse of Madness and the fact that it sounds like we're talking about alternate dimensions, and you really want someone like Sam Raimi kind of I guess creatively figuring out a really good way of introducing that, because I feel like this Doctor Strange movie might be our introduction to what we assume is going to be a much bigger
Marvel universe. Yeah, I mean, there's rumors that this will tie in all kind of like the way DC is doing over with their Flash movie. That there's rumors that this movie might tie in, future characters and past characters. Like there's thoughts that you can probably get. This is how the Spider-Man thing is going to happen, or something, or maybe this is how you can bring back, I don't know, previous versions of Fantastic Four, or at least allude to them or something like that. And like how you bring back maybe Deadpool. Like maybe you pull Deadpool out of this X-Men universe and he's now in the Marvel Studios, because apparently that is actually, that's actually being worked on. And because Marvel now owns Deadpool, I mean, Deadpool's going to have to fit in somewhere. And, that they don't just do it just for the sake of it, not anymore. Yeah. So
Google might be fake news, but Ryan Reynolds is listed as a cast member for Multiverse of Madness right now.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know how that happens. I don't know if Google knows something or what. But you brought up at Fantastic Four, and that's actually our number 3. Three. But Fantastic Four, it's kind of a monolith, and it doesn't really have much news attached to it, other than the fact that the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, is finally coming to the MCU. I know, there was news on who's directing it.
John Watts,
who's making Spider-Man a lot for MCU right now. But are you excited? I mean, this was inevitable, wasn't it, to see a Fantastic Four movie at some point? Do you have any like wish list things you want from this Fantastic Four? Probably the most redone team
Spider-Man
movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Team movie. Yeah. I don't know. I just hope it's good. I really don't know how I know Marvel's going to knock it out of the park, and I'm just very curious to see how to do it, because, Marvel, the Fantastic Four kind of works better as the first team. Kind of like it's kind of if you're making a Batman movie first and then a Superman movie second. Like it kind of works because the Fantastic Four in the comics were the first family, and like most of their powers and most of the stuff come after the Fantastic Four, as opposed to like in this Marvel universe, it was Iron Man, and Iron Man revealed himself, and then that's when everything kind of, there's a cause and effect to all that stuff, or the effect of all this stuff is because Iron Man became Iron Man, or, if you're being really nitpicky, because of Captain America and Captain Marvel or some shit. But yeah, so it's interesting to think that there's going to be a new Fantastic Four and a new take on it, because there has to be a new take on it, and it's exciting because they're essential to the Marvel universe and the comics. They've Reed Richards is the smartest person ever. Like, he's only, he knows, I think he knows more than Tony Stark, or or a Professor X type of person. Like, so having them there, and then having, I don't know. It's just crazy. Now that I'm just thinking about it, my mind's kind of like I'm getting
Ugh.
boggled because like you have to make the thing again. You have to
Oh
make
yeah. And
you
then,
have,
and you know what? I feel like and of course, this isn't controversial or anything, but I think like the Tim Story thing is the best thing. Does that make sense? Like, I think like
yeah, yeah,
just the way it looks, and I'm always like, well, can you just copy one aspect of a movie to because I remember those thing hands that everyone were smashing together. Like it was the thing, and you're right. Like somebody is gonna try to redesign everything probably in a new way, which is good. But I mean, I don't know. Like we've seen them multiple times already.
yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like maybe you can ignore some aspects of the characters because like the way they did with Spider-Man, like you don't get an Uncle Ben again. So they could probably just already be a team somehow. I don't know. Like it's very interesting, and I'm very curious on to see what they'll do with them. I don't think we're going to get that movie anytime soon. I think we might be overthinking it. Like it's probably going to be, if anything, Phase 5. Like it's probably not going to be an actual Fantastic Four movie for a while, but
I think
it's definitely exciting.
you made a good bet. I do feel like we may not get another origin story because that's the choice the MCU made with Spider-Man. We didn't see him
Yeah,
get bitten by a spider again. But yeah, I just don't the biggest trope in Fantastic Four movies is a team that doesn't work together and then figures out how to work together. So
yeah, uh-huh.
I think there is something really interesting about a team that maybe has been together for a while and maybe getting tired of each other, or I don't know. Like there's a little bit more from that storyline that we haven't seen than the three other Fantastic Four movies
Yeah.
live
And
action that we've seen so far.
I think it's tough too because like even Marvel must be. I feel like scratching their head because they already did a team up movie.
That's true.
They did the Avengers and they did
They did
that
the
team.
best one ever.
Yeah, exactly. So like how do you it's almost like you're going to be redundant if you do these same themes. So like how do you
Yeah.
take an approach like this? Like yeah, they're a literal family. I get that part, but I mean, I don't know. Shit. So yeah.
It'll be exciting. And you know what? Maybe Chris Evans is back, baby. Human Torch again.
Hopefully. Yeah.
He'd be the first one to do like three superheroes twice again in succession. But yeah, F4 coming to the MCU. Now, number two, probably the. Oh, wait, hold on. We got to do the noise again.
But yeah,
Number two
two.
almost sounds like a choo choo train. But number two is probably the thing that I'm saying probably a lot, but it's late, everyone. And we've recorded what, 3 podcasts tonight? This is.
Yeah, I guess so.
But this is an untitled movie, but it is what we are probably most excited for. I said probably again because it's coming out in December of next year, and that is
Probably if it doesn't.
probably that's true. The untitled Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, and the reason why it's number 2 is the fact that we have quite a cast confirmed and quite a cast non-confirmed, but kind of confirmed. And that's the Tom Holland movie with Zendaya, and we love the Spider-Man movies, but Benedict Cumberbatch is confirmed to be in it. So is Alfred Molina, Doc Ock himself.
As
There's a
Doc
whole lot
Ock.
as Doc Ock, Jamie Foxx as Electro, and of course the biggest rumor out there is that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, original Spider-Man himself and other Spider-Man, and side characters like Mary Jane and Gwen. I was going to say Gwen Stefani, Gwen Stacy. They might be in this movie too, and that's why it's number 2 on our list because this is crazy. I mean this? Does something like this work? I feel like Spider-Man has tried multiple characters before, but I guess it's just an Into the Spider-Verse thing, isn't it? Or some kind of a live action reaction to that?
Yeah, I think that's what the double-edged sword is for me. Like as exciting as like, when I read it, and then you're kind of like thinking like, what? Like, just, to have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man back and to have Andrew Garfield Spider-Man back, it's like, it's mind-boggling. And again, your mind, and I guess the bitter part about that is that the fact is like, well, they just did Into the Spider-Verse, which Into the Spider-Verse on Sony's, animation Marvel movie, that's an instant classic. Like I don't think you can get to the extremes that you could because of the fact that it's not animated, but also like, it just seems like a reaction to that. So that's why I get a little scared, like, and then also due to the fact that live action Spider-Man movies, whenever they have, more than 3 villains, like, never work. It's kind of very weird. And especially now that you're literally just trying to cram in the entire Spider-Man, like, pantheon of characters from both old movies and new, is insane to me. But I can't, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited, because it sounds pretty ambitious as hell. Like, it's very, like, the odds are against it. Kind of like the way I've said whenever the first Avengers movie came out and when Endgame or Infinity War came out, like, the odds are definitely against it. And it's up to Marvel to kind of prove us wrong.
Do you think Sam Raimi had anything to do with getting the Tobey Maguire generation and Doc Ock stuff back, or I guess in the fray?
It's cool to think of, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know if that's really what happened or if that might have happened, but it's cool to think that, like, maybe Sam Raimi may have talked to, especially because Maguire doesn't really act nowadays. He produces some stuff, but
yeah, he's too rich. He doesn't need to anymore.
Yeah, he's too busy gambling. No, I'm just playing.
Wow.
But
please lend me money, Tobey Maguire.
Well, it depends on what you roll.
I know, right? Gosh, he's gonna hustle me.
What's your hand, Raimi?
Oh my god. Well, Amy Pascal produced all of those, right? Didn't she produce all of Spider-Man ever? So she's also connected to everything.
Right, yeah. And it's very just surprising, though, because especially, like, people like Kirsten Dunst, who I think is confirmed as Mary Jane or something.
True.
Kirsten Dunst seems to have been really bitter about Spider-Man movies that came after her generation. Like, she's gone on record saying, like, they're milking the cow, and, what do you think about this new Spider-Man movie? And she's literally said, like, who cares? It seems like they were all basically just attached to their own franchises. Like, I feel like Garfield was the same way. Garfield, I think, was maybe... And
we're talking Andrew Garfield, not the grumpy cat.
Yeah, not the fat cat.
Not the fat cat.
Andrew Garfield is also, like, someone who was super into it, like, the first movie, and then maybe you can tell because of the way the second movie was received, he kind of was less interested in it. I think that he was at one point very excited to join the Avengers, like, he himself. And I think we would have gotten an Andrew Garfield, like, actually, like, had he not been fired, or actually had he shown up to that Sony meeting, he probably would have been the one hanging out with he would have still been our Spider-Man, I guess. But it didn't end up happening. So then Tom Holland came around. So, yeah. But that just, I guess my point being was, like, that seemed like he was already removed for the role too. Like, he was kind of like, oh, that's, it's in the past.
Yeah, it's insane that they're coming, they would come back. But I guess, it's maybe money. It's maybe, like, just reverence for the Spider-Man icon and what it means to a lot of people. I don't know, like, to what amount. This probably isn't going to be a 3-lead kind of movie.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Tom Holland joint, and especially the way that Far From Home ended, it's his identity has been revealed with friggin' Whiplash. There's, like, the way that even without all of these other Spider-Men, this was already going to be a Spider-Man movie like we've never seen before. Very high stakes, and now it just seems like, I don't know. Do you feel like any of this is a spoiler already? Just even confirming, would you much rather have not known that all of the other characters from the Spider-Man universes were going to be in this? I
mean, I guess I would have not known. Not knowing that would have always been the really cool part.
Optimal,
yeah. But in this day and age of the internet, everything was going to be spoiled kind of anyway. We still might be thinking we might be on the wrong thought, though. You get what I mean? Like, it probably is going to go very different than what we think is going to happen. Like, maybe it's very likely that these other Spider-Men are going to be cameos. Like, they're just very,
Yeah, I think that, yeah. If it's any good, it should be something we haven't talked about or not, and I feel like, a lot of this drip, like I said before, is probably just to get everyone in theaters again, whenever this movie does come out. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. But remember how often they played Spider-Man jumping on that car for Civil War, for Captain America Civil War. Like, he was in every trailer, even though technically he was in the movie for maybe 10 minutes. So
yeah, I mean, I think we might learn more possibly, and I'm not sure how they're coordinating this, because at the end of the day, this is a Sony project. but Feige said that there is going to be something on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, like where it's some Marvel musical, and they will have some more announcements or something like that. So maybe,
oh my god,
maybe pretty soon.
Well, a year from now, or less than a year from now, because December 17th, 2021, that's when this movie comes out, which means a lot of it's probably already filmed. I said probably again, hopefully safely during the pandemic. But this is something that's moving already. It's already happening. But that was our number 2. Now it's time for our number 1.
Peace.
News, and it's it's very sad, and something that impacted the MCU in the biggest way, and that is the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman, who is the Black Panther. Now, obviously, there's going to be a Black Panther 2. We don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to come out July 8th, 2022, but I can't think of anything that has impacted the MCU more than Chadwick Boseman, who's just an amazing guy, an amazing actor. I think I was talking about how Ma Rainey, I can't stop thinking about that movie because he does such a great job with August Wilson's play just as an actor. Yeah. But this impacts the MCU so much just because of how much of the future of the franchise, not just Black Panther, but just the future, I think, of what Disney wanted to do was represented by his performance and just his role. But yeah, that's the number 1 news story. It's kind of a bummer.
It's kind of, yeah. I mean, but you're totally right, though. I think this shakes up everything. I think even on a, not even. I mean, I'm sure, like even on a personal level, of knowing the guy, like who was a great guy. He's had amazing roles. You can totally tell he was a hero on screen and off screen. It probably bums people out, like, they're his co-stars, and, maybe people aren't feeling it the way they would be in the future. I don't know how the Black Panther 2 set's going to be, like, whenever they go back to work and stuff, like obviously, again, we lost a great man and not a character and stuff, but it's a huge bummer. You get what I mean? Like, it's not like, no one will ever be the same from it. Especially like, the people close to him and, and these productions, like it's wild to me, if I'm speaking frankly, that they're actually continuing the franchise. I know a lot of people on forums and stuff are, saying that, the character should be bigger than the actor playing him and stuff like that. But I think out of sign of respect, it's very surprising to me that they're continuing it so soon, because 2022 is now almost next year now.
You got to film like in months from now.
Months from now. Yeah, exactly. So it's wild to know that there's more coming from that. But in a way, it is. I don't know if it's touching or not, but it's really cool to see that they're not recasting him. I guess because that role is his and was his. So
yeah, not recasting, not using the weird CGI thing that Star Wars does.
Yeah,
often. But I think that that it's a good call. I understand if they're doing this as a memorial or maybe as a symbol to the power of Black Panther continuing on. But I also feel like this, especially in the hands of Ryan Coogler, can be something incredibly touching and moving, because the special part about Black Panther is there is literally a moment that that the characters go to the world of their ancestors, to the leaders that have passed on. And that's just, to me, like just a level of, I don't know, like it is just crazy to think that a director or writer is even thinking about that, considering the main actor has died in real life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And they're like, we could very well visit him in another realm and have it be an incredibly touching moment, like with whatever B-roll footage they have. Does that make sense? Like it's kind of insane that that's possible in the Black Panther universe. And I think we might get something incredibly, incredibly moving. But that's it. That's our top 5 MCU stories of 2020. Again, with no movies. So John and I love the movie so much. We go all the time. Obviously not now. We might have actually, I don't know, we might have actually snuck in 3 or 4 up until March this year. But we're super excited to go back when it's safe. But in the meantime, watch WandaVision and all the Disney Plus stuff. We'll find out by Black Widow, I guess, whether we should go back, but hopefully we talk more MCU this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's more movies coming this year too. So or the movies start up again. Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals. So those are the 3 for this year.
We haven't seen a single damn trailer for Shang-Chi or Eternals.
Yeah, they're playing it pretty close to the chest, and I think that's a good thing. Because I feel like we might see something about Spider-Man, and that comes out later than all those movies.
Yeah.
But Sony's going to Sony at the end of the day, and so it's whatever. It's their choice, really.
Well, John, thanks for being on the pod. Thanks for returning to us here on what I call a home, a nice home.
Awesome. I thought you forgot the name of the podcast, and you're just what I call.
John, do you have anything to plug to our hundreds of thousands of listeners?
Ooh, I haven't been on this platform in a while.
John, be careful. These plugs, they mean a lot.
Now I'm nervous. Now I just don't want to plug anything. Anyway, I'm telling myself to plug. Listen to all your Delphin Pod podcasts. Listen to Revenge of the Sequel, The Countdown Strikes Back, Countdown to Infinity, Dirt Sheet Radio. Anyway, listen to a bunch of these podcasts. We're still in a pandemic. Please stay inside. Wear a mask if you have to go out. Just be safe. Wash your hands. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys have a nice new year. And we'll see you back whenever. I'll probably see you back here on Countdown to Infinity when a movie comes out. But there's going to be loads of, Marvel content coming towards you. If you do want to listen to more of me, you can switch over to Countdown Strikes Back, which we were going to be talking some MCU, some Star Wars, Star Wars books, the High Republic. So the Countdown Strikes Back High Republic edition is, I think, what's going to be the name. Yeah.
And we were during when John hasn't been on this pod, we recorded an entire damn season of Revenge of the Sequel. So go listen to that for sure. Andrew's been on most of the episodes of those too, if not all of them, for this new season. But yeah, everything that John said, support the pod. Go to patreon.com/DelphinPod. Stay safe. Hope that you pat yourself on the back. You made it through 2020 and on to better things soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Later.